like our apartments have the same exact layout.
Probably. If you're in Toluca Lake, I'm in North Hollywood. You've been here once before.
What's that? Oh, this is the same apartment.
Yeah,
Okay, we're in a one bedroom.
yeah,
Yeah, we have identical layouts except well, whatever.
yeah, yeah. You've been going. You came over here with Whitney once on New Year's.
For your birthday.
Yeah. Was it my birthday or New
No,
Year's?
it was your
It
birthday.
was my birthday. Okay. I just
Yeah, it was
vaguely,
like
I vaguely
three.
remember listening to Rage that night on vinyl.
Yes. On the way over, I was trying to figure out like, what percentage of the surfaces in your apartment were covered with cum? Like, just how much semen? Do you still have the bed in your living room?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so do you still have a roommate?
He's out. Yeah, he's out, and I'm in the middle. Once I land like more stable work situation, not on and off temping, I'd like to move in with a roommate. And
Oh,
I'm
I
also
thought you
toying
were-
with moving to Austin for like 2 months
Why?
to get as much stage time as I can when things reopen. I don't want to come into. I don't want. God, I'm trying like I don't want like the bookers to see me wobbly, which I think a lot of comics who come back. There's a lot of like I'm not talking, but like not even I'm not shit, but I'm not talking period. There's a lot of comics I've seen who decided to get their feet wet, do a set one time during the
Uh,
pandemic, and
that's what I did.
yeah.
It was awful. It was horrible.
Which mic by like if you don't mind me asking?
And I don't know if it's still happening because it's cold out.
Yeah.
It was in South Weddington, no, North Weddington Park,
Okay, I haven't been to that one.
or maybe South Weddington Park. But yeah,
There,
it was just like my friend, Abby
Abby
Shack,
Shackner, yeah.
the Shack. Yeah, so she was doing it,
Shack
and
Attack.
I would say, well, I live in Toluca Lake. I live within walking distance of that park. I would say,
Yeah,
because I like a good stretch of the legs,
yeah.
uh, and uh, and so I was like, okay, I'll go. And then I was hanging out, and I just, what, maybe I would try to go on stage. I had a half idea for a joke I wanted to try, and it was horrible. It was really bad. Wasn't fun.
Yeah, it's most of the stage time that's left right now isn't fun. Getting up like on sidewalks or in parks.
Or in See, Cole Alexander's open mic looked fun in his backyard. I
Yeah,
don't.
I did that once. I'm not. Yeah, I haven't spoken to him in like two
You're not
months.
what?
Yeah,
You
I'm
haven't
not.
spoken to him in 2 months. What
Yeah.
happened?
No, I don't want to. Oh, yeah, I don't want to get too deep into that. We're I'm not. I don't
Let's
hate
call
him.
Colin.
Huh? Yeah.
I want to get
Call.
you guys together.
No.
Like when Sinatra got Lewis and Martin back together on the Jerry Lewis telethon.
Okay. It is like early on in the pandemic, like we were like best friends, like but like one by one, like we're like just feel I did lose like contact with like a lot of people.
Oh, I lost contact with almost everyone. It's been great.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of people. It feels good, and then it makes you feel better when you see them again. It's like holy shit, you haven't gotten sick.
It's
Yeah,
I I've been using this time to kind of rethink how I'm doing comedy in LA.
it's
And
not a terrible thing.
no, it's not, because it's just I kind of got stuck in this cycle of bad shows and bad open mics.
Yeah.
And when I moved to LA, I was doing in New York good shows
Oh
and
yeah.
like some like clubs, and now I'm in LA doing horrible stage time consistently. And I think going to Austin is not the worst idea. I don't know if I'd move there, but it's not a bad idea to be
I
there.
would not live in Austin permanently, and like the two selling points are the stage time and the barbecue. I
This-
hear I
Oh
hear
wait, you're not a drinker.
huh?
You're not a drinker.
Yeah, I'm not like a heavy. Is that a thing? Is that like a heavy drinking town?
Oh, dude, it's a big bar town.
Okay.
It's I don't drink at all, and in fact, it's one of the reasons I don't really hang there too much. I prefer San Antonio actually,
Yeah, it's
but I also have friends who live in San Antonio, And so it's like I know where to get the good barbecue. I know, like, I have
Okay.
people with,
Yeah.
Austin's a little tougher for that.
I know plenty of people who are doing comedy in Dallas.
Yeah, our friend Daniel's doing it there.
Yeah, Daniel Magden. That's right. He's
Yeah.
there for now. I know Ahmed El Kadri. He's been doing shows periodically out there.
I think Saul was doing comedy down in Texas for a while too.
Saul Trujillo.
Trujillo,
Yes.
that guy's funny.
Oh, he's a murderer. I've seen him get up in the lab, just levels the room. Even like in the late night when like the energy sort of like fizzles out at like 1 a.m. Like
Saul kills me.
yeah,
He's a good writer too.
yeah, and
He's
like
got that. Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say like his jokes like they don't come off like there are certain people like certain comics that their material doesn't feel structured, like it feels more conversational, but it is
Right.
structured, and I think that's like the goal.
It is. So when you write your bits, so you ran through your crush bit really quickly on Instagram stories because
Yeah,
I asked what you were doing during.
that was a joke. I've like I might have 15 minutes of material
I was
from.
gonna pay you a compliment,
Oh
but
yeah. Oh okay.
I was gonna say in the middle of that you had like a joke with a really good punchline, and I was like, God, the good
Yeah.
Ian's like starting to write jokes to put in his bits.
I'm figuring out the
That's
idea of.
backhanded compliment. I'm
Yeah
sorry,
yeah.
but
Oh,
it's true.
I miss this.
It's true. Like that was a backhanded
Yeah.
compliment, but I was like, okay, that's a good punchline
Yeah.
that Ian has in the middle of what he just said, and I wish he would write three more, and then that would be a very good bit.
No, but there's a like in recent months, I would say like probably since July. I've only since July have I figured out how to sit down and punch up material.
It's so important. You know
Yeah.
how I learned how to do that?
Shoot.
So I was doing stand up for a very relatively very long
Oh
time.
yeah.
Not a I mean, now that I look back on it, it wasn't a long time, but it felt like a long time. But after and I'd been on TV already,
Yeah.
and I was stuck in kind of middle gear with stand up.
Yeah.
And so I sat down and listened to that Woody Allen album, the like compilation of the nightclub years.
Okay.
And the great thing about Woody Allen's stand up when you listen to it is that guy has story jokes that are all just punchlines. And when they're you clearly when he reached points where there's maybe some dead space in the story where there weren't
Yeah.
jokes, he would just shove in an unrelated joke. And like each one is great because Woody Allen's a great comedy writer,
Oh,
but
absolutely. Like
also
one of the staples.
but also if you listen to like the Moose bit, that's like the perfect example of how to write a stand-up story joke. Like a good 2 minute, just like bam, bam, bam bit.
I'm gonna check that out.
You should
Yeah.
because it's like I see a lot of comics, professional comics too, who like tell really engaging stories. But you're like, okay, well that was funny
Yeah.
after 5 minutes, but
That's
it took 5 minutes to get there.
because I'm from the school of thought. Like, obviously, there should be truth within whatever story you're telling, but I
Hmm.
think being compelling and engaging is half the battle, particularly with a live audience when things could get rowdy.
Right.
Like something after the pandemic, I would like to start booking shows. Like, I have all the gear to book shows like outside of LA in small towns in bars that there's no live entertainment.
Oh, you mean gear like you would set up the mic and
Yeah,
the stage?
yeah.
Okay.
All like the lighting. Did you ever do Syllabuster?
I think you asked me to do it once, and
Yeah,
I will. You know what? Rita had asked me to do
that's
a
right.
callback at the lab, and
Yeah,
I just decided that that's
that more important, and that's fair.
not more important, but it's just like what I moved to LA to do is like try
Yeah,
to get at the improv.
Yeah,
and that's no
you were doing
to
like I
you.
feel like you were averaging what like every 2 weeks in the late night at the Improv.
Yeah, I was doing really well for a while, and
Yeah,
then cycle people in and out, and I got cycled out, and that's okay. Because they gave me my own monthly show, which I had a lot of fun with.
yeah. I went to one of those.
You did, thank you.
Yes.
It was you did. You came to the one that God, that was a mess,
Yeah,
right?
that was. Was it a like I had a fun. That was the one time I
It
got
was
to see Al Lubell.
so that's the thing, right? So it was like for you, it was great. In the audience, it was great.
Yeah.
But for me, like one of my headliners got high and forgot to come. So like I got a call from him at the end of the
I
show.
remember. I know who it is. I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't want to speak ill of the guy because he's a guy who I legitimately respect.
You can. I like him, but I wasn't too mad. I was a little mad at him. I was mad at him at the time, but I was just like, fucking, it happens. He was about the show.
Occasionally, I think there was one comic, and he's another guy who I don't want to talk about because like I don't want to sound like I'm talking about him because he's a fantastic guy.
Right.
But he was a complete no show, and yeah, at the time it hurts because it's what am I doing wrong? Does he see me as like not a serious producer?
Was it Christian Finnegan?
It was not. Christian
Oh,
Finnegan. He did. Yeah, that dude. That was a cool show because like I had two drop-ins that night who were running late night material. It was Laura Bites, Christian Finnegan, who they both.
Laura Bites is great.
Yeah, I think they both recorded their late night sets the same
Right.
day. One for James Corden, with the other it was Laura Bites' late night debut on Lights Out with David Spade, and then Lori Kilmartin, who did I think she did like 20 minutes that night, and then it was I think it went into like Maddie Henson, who was just a complete shift in gear, but not in
Maddie Hansen?
not in a bad way.
No, Maddie
Yeah,
Hansen's.
she's fantastic.
Well, she's good.
Yeah.
I don't want to say fantastic.
Dude, she's very good. She has this ability to say, like not things necessarily for shock value, but definitely stuff that approaches whatever line there is, but does it in a way where it's still fun.
Right.
And you could tell like it's not from like a bad place or anything, which I think that's a challenge. Like once you develop the professional tools, develop the voice where you think you're able to do that. Because I can't go out I can't like even observational humor about rape. Like I can't do that. Like it just comes off as like this guy, yeah, he can't pull that off. And like I'm not
Yeah,
there
because
yet.
I'm sitting there like, oh, maybe Ian actually raped
Yeah.
somebody.
Yeah, which I don't do that. I don't do jokes like that at all, and that's not even in my personality.
So are you saying that Maddie Hansen is funny for a woman? Because I
Yeah,
know you don't find women funny.
I think I will take a step further. Funny for a comedian.
Okay, because I know you don't think women are funny. 'Cause you're
No,
on.
they have their moments. I'm there.
Now, when you say something like women aren't funny in conversation to a woman, what is your goal? Like, what are you hoping to achieve with that?
I don't think women are not fun. No, I do. No wait. God, can't tell if I did a double standard there. If I was accidentally about to. I don't think women are not funny. Is what I'm.
Okay.
I also think there's like the same ratio of funny dudes to unfunny dudes. I think it's more or less the same with female comics.
Right, but that's not what you say in conversation.
I don't think.
Like in conversation, you say things like women aren't funny. So I don't believe I don't believe you believe it, but I wonder why you say it.
God, I remember very briefly I had like a joke like along the lines. This is a couple years ago. Like women ruin comedy. They don't ruin comedy. They have sometimes they do. Like it's a whole like back and forth sort of deal.
Right.
And I remember I put in quotes, Women Ruin Comedy on Twitter to see if anybody's been tweeting about it. And somebody wrote like, "Oh yeah, there's this one comic in L.A. who's been tweeting, who's been going to mics saying women ruin comedy." And it's like, oh, I don't, yeah, just a joke though.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your intention when you say women ruin comedy is to make people laugh.
Yes.
Okay.
Which I remember once that was killing in the Yoo-Hoo room at Flappers. And that's
Well,
a
if
good.
you want to be a
That's a good.
Yoo-Hoo Room comic the rest of your life, that's a great,
Yeah.
it's great material to cultivate, I
I want
guess.
that pizza spot. I want to crush so hard in the Yoo-Hoo room they bring back the pizza spot.
That's is that what happens in the Yoo-Hoo Room?
That was a thing a couple years ago. Like if you had the best set, they would give you a free pizza.
It sounds pretty good, actually. I could go with a free
Dude,
pizza.
with all of Flappers' flaws, they had really good pizza.
When this all started, they had a program where you donated money and then they would use that money to buy food for comics. And I wonder what happened, like if they still do that program or not.
I didn't know that, but I admire them for it.
Yeah, I gave them some money. And I wonder if they gave comics that much that amount of money's worth of pizza, wings, and chocolate chip cookies.
God, and there's been several times when I would like somebody would win third place at Uncle Clyde's Comedy Festival, and they would like that person would win this giant bowl of fries. It was enough to feed like 10 people. And that was just like a bonding experience. And I hope that doesn't go the way of the dodo after all this is over.
Dude, I just found out I live near a Zanku fried chicken. Not
Zanku,
Zanku fried chicken,
yes.
Zanku chicken.
Yeah, there's one on there's one on like Riverside somewhere. I think near Lancashire.
Yeah, that's the one I live near.
Okay, no
So I'm gonna be like
you live close
fucking
to Ha
fat and farty by the time this is over, and I'm gonna be poor because that's just expensive.
Yeah, it is. I don't the one thing I've been going to Nick the Greek.
Where's that?
It's in Westwood. It's a lamb gyro.
Really?
Yes, which I haven't like yeah, we're both New York comics.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
there used to be a really great gyro place near the Comedy Cellar, which also sells good gyros, by the way, like good
Okay.
Mediterranean food, the Olive Tree Cafe. But it's gone now, and I wish I could remember the name of it because it was like the best fucking spit roast gyros in the city when it was open, right down McDougal Street.
Okay.
Yeah, I used to go to Spitz when I moved here, which is a Berlin style gyro place, but it was so greasy, it would make me sick.
Yeah. There's no Nick the Greek. I found out about it. I was walking around Ventura a couple weeks ago, and there was a like I was looking for something to eat before coming back to LA, and I found Nick the Greek, and there were a million people outside, and I was like, all right, this is probably good. And
Right.
I go inside, I place my order, step outside. The owner is being interviewed by Fox News for refusing to close. And I found out that Ivanka Trump tweeted her support for them. And so a lot of those people were like MAGA people. And I was like, ugh.
Ugh.
And that was the one time I I self-isolated for like a long time, like for like a week, because I thought that like I was in a potentially dangerous situation.
Those people get, dude. I mean, but look, I was eating my Zenku chicken last night, which,
Yeah.
by the way, is phenomenal.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm so happy I live near Zenku chicken. But I was eating it, and then afterwards,
Shawarma.
I was like, well, if I got fucking COVID because I wanted to eat Zenku chicken,
Yeah.
I'd be really mad at myself.
It's funny because I then looked up. Is there I wanted to go back to Nick the Greek. I wanted to see if there was another location, and thank God there is. But like that's turning into a bit like, have you ever had lamb gyro so good it's worth dying for?
That is funny.
It's a hack premise, but
not a hack premise. See, that's not a. Why is that a hack premise?
I don't. What I'm not gonna say it's original, whether it's from the heart, which it is legitimately good
Well,
gyro.
wait, how many? Are there a lot of people out there right now doing bits about X is good enough to die for? Is that what's going on?
Not like if it had like I don't know what your definition of hack is. Like obviously short for hackneyed, so that should narrow it down. But like if you're doing bits that like don't mean anything to you, if there's no emotional conviction, if you're just trying to be clever, like if you're not trying to connect emotionally in some way, I'd
But
like
Jerry Seinfeld doesn't connect emotionally. Do you think he's a hack?
I I don't want to sound like I'm talking about Jerry Sein. I don't. Like his comedy doesn't do anything for me, but that's subjective.
Or would you say he's a hack?
Yeah, I don't want to be put in this position. Not that
This is
Seinfeld.
why this is why I thought I had to think twice before I said yes to this. Because I was like, it's just gonna come off like I'm bullying Ian, but I'm genuinely fascinated by your thought processes.
Let me. I was in a Barnes and Noble yesterday, and I saw Jerry Seinfeld's book, and I almost bought it thinking it was a biography. The book is called "Is This Anything?" Is this anything? And I
I
opened
think
the
it's
book. And it was
hilarious.
just a bunch of material. Like I think Larry David is the guy who made Seinfeld's who like the show what it is.
I agree. Larry,
Yes.
you can see the difference when Larry leaves after season 7. But I would say as a stand-up, Seinfeld literally invented an entire genre of comedy. I mean, he didn't literally invent it in the sense that like people have always done observational comedy,
Yeah.
but he's the guy who really honed it, perfected it, and created this language that like a million other comics speak today.
I I got to take a look at what was going on. Like, what other observational humor was there at the time? Because I
David
will
Brenner,
say, who?
David Brenner.
David Brenner. Okay. Because a lot of like the people who were getting pass at the store that at the time who were becoming superstars, which Seinfeld he obviously ended up veering towards the improv.
Right.
Like all of those people were is that like a lot of the like your Jim Carrey's, your
He was not an observational
yeah,
comic.
he they were like they were just very connectable, charismatic personalities, and that's not a bad thing. But
But like
like
Leno is another extremely influential comic
I,
that a lot of comics now think of as hack.
I gotta take a look at what he was doing back then because I specifically know Leno as in Letterman for what they did to late night television.
You don't like Letterman?
No, I love Letterman. I did. Did you watch the Comedy Store docuseries?
Yes.
Yeah, it's
That's how I found out there's a lounge on top of the Comedy Store.
I did not that might have been a set. Like I know there is a back bar, which that I'd only learned maybe like 2 years ago. Like
Right.
the paid regulars bar.
There's that. There's the little alley in the back where people go hang out.
Yeah, that's Sacred Grounds.
Is that Sacred Ground?
Yes.
Why
Wait,
so?
no, that's the name for it. And if
Oh,
you're not a paid regular or an employee of the store, yeah, don't go back there. Like
I've been
that's
coming
not
back there.
you have okay. Like if you're like a friend, if you're like unless you're like invited.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Because I have not I'm not close enough with any of the paid regulars. Like I wouldn't. That's something I feel like I want to earn.
Yeah, I mean, it's like don't knock yourself out too much.
Yeah.
Basically, hanging out with a bunch of depressed comics who like just want to get high.
Yeah, who spent years and years to get to that point.
I spent like 15 minutes talking to people about vapes.
Yeah,
I was just like, I was like, all right.
yeah,
So you saw the Dillinger 4 at a tiny bar right before
yeah.
quarantine.
Right before, and I
That's
look.
very cool because they usually do big venues, right?
Yeah, they're the last time they played in L.A. was at the Echoplex before this, and it
Right.
was actually there's a A guy who I know, an acquaintance, Paul Silver. It was his birthday party, and like there, he grew up with D4 long before D4 was even a band. So like he was able to like sort of like make that happen. And it's funny because I look at video footage from the show, and I'm thinking to myself, what the are you guys doing? This isn't safe. And it's like I was there, and
So how did you find out about it?
no, oh no, because he posted about it. Sold out very quickly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's very I was trying to think about like band because I read your post. I was like, what bands have I seen that normally play big venues who are I saw in small venues?
Oh, I've seen
I
every
would say
time.
the
Which
go
one?
ahead.
I
Go
saw
ahead.
every time I die in a 200 cap venue.
I used to be in with the Bell House in Brooklyn.
Okay, they had secret
And
shows from time to time.
so I saw the Dandy Warhols there,
Wow. Okay.
which was huge because they
Yeah.
normally play like big venues.
Yeah. Have you ever been to St. Vitus?
Yes, my friend used to be in this really great sludge metal band that I saw there.
Okay, because St. Vitus, they were notorious. Like every other weekend, I feel like they would have a secret show or
Right.
like some like random like band that happened to be in town. Like I saw Saves the Day play Through Being Cool in its entirety there,
Oh wow.
which that was. I don't know if you knew the band Iron Chic.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, yeah, I've no, because yeah, Iron Chic they played a show there and Saves the Day like they did like a late night set and that was cool.
There was another bar that used, I mean, venue that used to be notorious for that, owned by Andrew WK in downtown
Santos
Manhattan.
Party House.
Santos Party House. And that was like, if you were cool enough to be on the inside, you would get to know about like up and coming artists or like people who were famous or like doing low,
Yeah,
like shows.
yeah.
I saw Fountains of Wayne do an
Oh
outdoor
wow,
street festival in Hoboken, which was hilarious.
dude, that's rat. Dude, I hate that. Like Stacy's mom was like got like the one song that I knew by them before the pandemic, and
Right.
it's upsets me that it took that kind of tragedy to discover what is now one of the top 5 bands that I've listened to like the most during quarantine.
There's such, I remember I've been a fan of theirs. I this dates me. This is how old I am now.
Yeah,
I was on the I spent a year in college and I was
yeah,
on the college paper that year.
yeah.
And I was given, I should say, we were sent the Fountains of Wayne debut album to review.
Okay,
And it was right before That Thing You Do came out. So it was like they weren't even famous for that yet.
okay.
Um,
And like, how quickly did it take Adam Schlesinger to go from Fountains of Wayne to essentially writing all these crazy soundtracks? Because he also had Josie and the Pussycats under his belt,
right.
Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, which I was a fan of for a long time.
Well, I think That Thing You Do, he won a contest, right? Like it was Tom Hanks had an open call for theme songs
Okay,
and he wrote that like perfect, mid to late 60s rock vibe.
yeah, like
Um,
hell of a composer, and like he also
can I tell
what
you something?
shoot
There used to be a $3 movie theater, like a second run theater in a Midtown Manhattan
okay,
called Worldwide. And my buddy Rich and I went to see That Thing You Do there. It was like how I saw all my movies when I was like 20, because I started doing stand up when I was 19.
yeah, wow.
Uh, so we were hanging out in the lobby after That Thing You Do. And the star of the movie came out with his date.
Oh, I've heard plenty of stories. I know somebody who
We were just saying, like, is
yeah.
that the guy? Like,
Yeah.
why would you come to the $3 theater? Like, who takes a date to the $3 theater to see their movie? And then
God,
after, like, that's pretty cool. If I ever started a movie, I'd want to do that.
I dude, that date has to end on a good level, like on a good
I hope
note.
so.
Yeah.
Hope it ends as well as your Santa Barbara excursion.
Statistically speaking, we'll work out.
uh, you got her pregnant already, huh?
Yeah.
Good for you. Good for you, my brother. that Rousso. It's
Yeah.
pronounced Rousso,
Right.
right?
It's Russo.
That Rousso
Yeah.
seed is strong. So your parents are probably listening to this, hoping that you're okay, like hoping to
Yeah.
get like clues that you're doing okay in Los Angeles.
Yeah, I've been speaking to my parents almost every day.
Good for you.
Yeah,
I call
they
my mom every other day.
right on.
So your your video, your Zoom is hooked in through a DSLR camera, right?
It's actually recording through the camera is recording through my MacBook camera, and the sound it's going into a like
Okay.
coincidentally a Zoom recorder, so I'm able to adjust the levels almost like a mixer.
I almost hooked up my Zoom mic to try doing that tonight because I want to like. But anyway, because all right. So your camera, that's a MacBook camera.
Yeah, that's a MacBook camera. The
That's
lighting,
a built-in MacBook camera.
it's a yes, and I have like a desk lamp, a stand-up lamp, and a halo lamp on me, and I'm
Interesting.
being blasted with light right now.
Because I'm learning filmmaking, and I was
Yeah,
just on a Zoom thing with like this professional who had a similar like depth of background to you, but she was using an actual DSLR camera attached to her laptop.
yeah. I think just like being blasted, like the light is directly on me. You can't see much behind me, so it's almost like there's some depth. It almost
No,
looks
it's totally depth.
yeah. It almost feels like I'm in a candlelit room.
It does. No, it's good. I'm
Yeah.
serious. In fact, I'm going to pay you the second backhanded compliment of the
I'm
podcast.
surprised you were able to do this much.
No, no, no. So I found out that you used to make comedy short films.
Yeah.
And so it's like I watched them.
Were we just watching each other's during the pandemic? Because I watched
No,
your
no, no.
premium
This
blend
was
set
after I met
early
you.
on.
No, no, no. This was after I met you.
Okay.
You were like obsessed with Bones, and
That's
I was like,
right.
"Well,
I
how
was the
good could
Bones
this
comic.
guy's show- how good?" And I was like, "Oh, Ian's a really good producer." Like
Yeah.
I was actually very impressed. The writing was a little off.
Yeah, I'm still.
It seemed like you were writing, and it wasn't because it was bad. It just seemed like it was some sketch about a romance, and
Yeah.
it seemed like just it was written in a way that I was like, I wonder if Ian understands what romance, like adult romance is. Like it just felt weird. Like it was like a weirdly emotionally. This is the bad part of the compliment. It was a weirdly emotionally disconnected script, but the directing was really good.
Okay, that's
Acting was
not
really
on me.
good.
Yes,
It looked great.
Yeah, you were doing comedy in New York. I don't know if you know.
Wait, I'm not done.
Okay, go on.
I'm not done. And it was funny.
Okay,
Like this
I
is actually
appreciate
funny.
that. Yeah.
So I was like,
So everything about it was good, but the storytelling.
and then I had to. No, it wasn't that storytelling was bad. It was just like, it was just like it seemed like you were trying to figure out what romantic love was a little bit through this video, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
This is a totally bad compliment.
Yeah, really. Like, there's no.
Really
I don't.
is.
You,
But
funny, well directed, which I was not
was.
the director. But yeah, the
I
acting.
thought-
Did you know Maggie Champagne in New York?
Yeah, I knew Maggie.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic.
No, but did she direct that?
No, she one of the actors.
Yes, she
Actresses,
was.
yeah.
But it was well produced. Like
Yeah.
you were all in on that. I thought you directed it too.
Yeah, no, that was you never met my friend Zach Jumper.
No, but it
Okay.
looked really good.
Yeah,
And I
no,
was like, why is this guy wasting his time at the fourth wall talking about bones when he could be making these really good videos?
I still coincidentally I have colored.
You were trying to brand yourself as the Bones comic, and so
Yeah.
I was like, maybe this is like an Andy Kaufman style put on.
I think screenwriting and filmmaking is generally, if I want to get work, I think that is potentially not more worth my time, because like that in itself is a skill that takes forever to master. And do you ever truly master it?
But you'll never make money at stand-up, and that's not a knock on you.
Yeah,
That's just
everybody.
a fact. I have friends who are really great. I'm not a great stand-up. I'm a good stand-up. And I hate
have
the
your
road,
moments.
or else I could be a better stand-up. if I didn't hate the road so much, and I didn't actively dislike doing headlining shows, I could be a much better stand-up. But that's just me.
The road is where any of the pay is. Like here, like in LA,
It's
it's a
shit pay.
joke.
The road is shit pay. Like it seems good because you're like, oh man, I'm making $100 to headline a weekend, and I'm getting a free motel room. I'm getting paid to
Yeah,
do what I love, which sounds like a great deal. But then you still have to come home and pay your bills.
yeah. That's
You're like, and then you're like, well, wait a second. They collected $25 a head at the door,
if I
and there were 220 people in that room. So
if
where did the money go?
yeah, if I could find myself in a situation where I'm making half of my money, half of my income, like working part time, and the other half doing road spots, like that would be a blessing. But that takes years, and but right now it's just so competitive.
Dude,
It's always been competitive, but like just because all like the big guys who can't do arena acts, like they can't do arena shows, they're doing all these like small venues. That
and
they,
forget the arena guys.
yeah,
Like Chris Rock is going to be okay.
yes,
Like Jeff Foxworthy is going to be okay. Like their fans are going to pay to see them when they're ready to
yes,
come back. It's the dudes who like are the club headliners
yeah,
who are dying to work, who haven't worked in the last 10 months, or have done really bad shows in front of 20 people, or, like are doing weird shows or whatever. And they all are fucking ready to get back to work.
yeah.
And you have probably 2/3 of the venues open now that were open, and also you're competing with like people from the 90s who
Oh
are
yeah,
famous enough, like
and
these comics, really famous comics from the 90s who are headlining B rooms and selling them out as special events. And it's like the B and C rooms are supposed to be where the developing comedians
yeah,
learn how to headline. But
that's
because there's so much competition for this club time right now, like you have dudes who fucking were huge movie stars 30 years ago now who are like selling out clubs like crazy.
and then you have the fact that if you want your first late night credit, like getting on like Conan or Colbert, like there's a backlog of comedians who've been working for years who are going to be going for those spots.
But you know what? Here's the thing. You can't think of comedy as like a career where there's a seniority and a hierarchy and this and that. Because what you really need to do to get on Conan, or I guess not Conan anymore, but Corden or
Yeah.
Fallon, is you just need a fucking good manager who believes enough in you to push you for it.
Okay.
And then, of course, you need a tight 5 minutes, and you
Yeah,
need
the
to
tight
audition in
five.
front of it
That's
and all that shit. But it's like, it's not a thing where like you do it for 7 years and then you're promoted to
yeah.
fucking, and then also you get a late night spot, and then the next night you're back at some like shitty open mic,
Oh yeah, I
and
hear it
you're
pays
wondering
well.
why you can't like feature on the road.
Which I've heard stories. Did you know Samantha Ruddy?
Yeah, I know Samantha
Okay,
Buddy.
fantastic.
Great.
Another fantastic. Just doing name dropping. Because when she made her
Like you
debut,
don't think she's funny because she's a woman.
no, I think she's a hilarious. Just
You think she's ruining comedy.
dude, she slays. But fucking when
By
she
the way,
made
I do think Maddie Hansen's great. I was busting
yes,
your balls earlier, but
yeah,
I do think Maddie's great.
yeah,
And
she'd
I
be
just want to
she'd
say
be
that because
funnier if she were a guy. But no,
I just don't want her to like be mad because she thinks I'm putting her down because I want
yeah,
to with you.
no. But Samantha
By the way, Ian's
Ruddy.
parents are listening. It sounds like I'm bullying your son, but I'm not. It's all in love.
Oh no, he's bullying. No, fucking Samantha Ruddy. When she made her debut on Colbert, like the night that it aired, she was essentially barking for stage time in, I believe, in Austin, Texas, somewhere in Texas.
Uh-huh.
And when it aired, it sold out.
Right.
Which for all the people that say, "Oh, having a late night credit does nothing for your career," I don't necessarily think that's true.
Well, here's the thing. if you have James Corden saying, "Come check out Ian this weekend at Hyenas in Phoenix,"
Yeah.
then you're going to sell out that weekend because
Yes.
enough people will see it and they'll be like, "Okay, he had a good 5 minutes. I'll check him out."
Yeah.
But if you're talking about career, that spot isn't going to sell out your next 3 weekends,
Yeah.
right? So it's like that's the point where you got to say, okay, well, how do I become a road headliner? Like, how do I build up a fan base and get to the point where I can I can pay a mortgage just doing road gigs?
Oh
And
God, yeah.
that's the tough part. That's like the trick that people that's the nut that's tough to crack.
Podcasting is like a huge part of, if you could get 10 to 20 people in every major market to listen to your podcasts consistently,
Uh,
you already have more value than if you were just going to, say, Chicago or something to do like 10, 15 minutes at a bar.
yeah, and then but the thing is, if you have that kind of drawing power, then you can just say, okay, I'm going to contact the Bell House directly
Yes.
because why would I like do some crazy Byzantine door deal
Yeah.
in New York with the Gotham
Yeah.
when I know I could sell out 250 person shows, or I could get 600 people through the door on a Friday night.
Oh, yeah.
So I might as well just keep all the money.
Oh, yeah. The goal is complete control, which I look at like, not that it's kind of a faux pas to bring him up right now to speak about him in any positive
The
light.
Clash,
No, but
they had that great
yeah,
song, Complete
faux
Control,
pas.
even
Oh
over this song.
no, but Louis C.K. He was essentially the pioneer in having complete control over the
Right.
money. That's like he's essentially paying the venue. The money's
Right.
going directly to him, because like I've heard stories of him getting f***ed over when he first started.
Of course, in fact, I saw him do, boy, he was so famous. And talking about the Bell House, and
Yeah,
again, this is entirely because I was like really in with them and
yeah,
doing a lot of shows there. But the booker called me and said, like, or emailed me, I should say, but said, Louis C.K. is about to announce he's doing 3 surprise shows tonight to warm up for his tour. Do you want to come? And I did. And essentially, he was so famous
yeah,
that his deal was he would keep 100% of the door and be paid in cash that night,
yeah.
which they were very happy to do because they knew they were going to sell like
Like,
$10,000 worth of
oh
drinks
yeah,
over.
dude, it's insane.
So like, yeah, of course. And then what my friend who's a bartender there said was that he just dropped like most of that cash as a tip at the end of the night.
Yeah, yeah. It's because yeah, he was at a point where
Right.
money meant nothing to him. Like it was just,
Yeah, and like
dude.
Todd Barry opened for him just because like fucking he was like, yeah, Todd's my friend. Of course I want him to open for me.
Yeah, wow, how the
I've never
mighty
met
have.
Louis C.K. He's not my friend.
Yeah, yeah, he's not my friend either.
Are
One
you
day
mad at
maybe.
him?
No, I don't
Like,
want to like I don't
sorry, I
think.
thought I heard a delivery.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
expecting a delivery tonight. But are you like Louis C.K. now?
I'm not Louis C.K. It's one of those. I don't think it is my job to forgive him. I don't think it's my position to say what he did was right or wrong. I don't think he should be. I don't think. I'm very back and forth. Like it's a very complicated situation. It's an ugly situation,
Would you
and
go see him do stand up if he ever came back to LA?
yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah. For the audio people who can't see me nodding, yeah,
Okay. You're right. It is a tricky situation. I think it's interesting you say it's not your job to like forgive him or
yeah.
condemn him.
Because I think there are people who I also don't know the full story, but there are people who he affected in a very bad way,
Right.
who I feel it is their job to really decide when they've come to emotional terms. I Louis, I know you are not a head. Let's I'm not gonna join the court of public opinion and be like, this guy should never work, because I also think that is wrong.
Interesting. Do you think like he should be a filmmaker again?
If the market is there for it, I would like to see him. He's one of the most brilliant storytellers from like the last like 30 years, like specifically from comedy, specifically from comedians.
I liked his show. I am
Yes.
very curious to see that movie he made that's basically a straight homage to Manhattan.
Yo, I love you, Daddy. I did find
Yeah.
a pirated link for that early on in the
Did-
pandemic.
What do you think? I didn't see it.
It was
I don't steal
too
content.
real for. Yeah, I get it was one of those. I don't encourage people to pirate material.
But also,
I didn't pirate it per se. I found like a stream that was definitely without anybody's permission.
did you like it?
I did, but I also
Okay.
thought like the time it was very, very real and haunting for the stuff that he was.
Really?
Okay, like it was definitely like definitely from a real place.
Okay.
God,
What
I can't imagine how uncomfortable Charlie Day and Helen Hunt were while when these accusations, like everybody who was remotely associated with them, it was just like, ugh.
Yeah, what was funny to me was like all the comics who basically would just brag about knowing Louis C.K.,
Yeah.
like drop his name in conversation and like, try to casually, and then all of a sudden they were all like distancing themselves from him and, just like, yeah, well, it's more of a like I opened for him once or,
Oh, I hate that's one of like the ugly facts of show business. Considering the
right.
whole like the allegations, like they were long since rumored. Like it wasn't like something people didn't know. Same thing with like on the more serious side of the spectrum of up shit that you could do. A guy like Harvey Weinstein, like it wasn't like people didn't know about the stuff that he was doing. Like it was really heinous stuff. And like he really like people were essentially enabling him because of his power.
Yeah, it was I don't know, man.
Like
I saw his special that he released.
yeah,
Like, he recorded a surprise special, which
right
is always
before the
impressive.
pandemic.
And I felt that he was clearly still too close to everything and too stressed out by it. And I felt
In-
like it wasn't that good.
Interesting, because I felt like something I admired about Louis in that sense, like the special. I feel like he came to terms with it enough that he's able to joke about it and be
Well,
comfortable in like the truth of it all.
it
Even though
wasn't.
like I think he's upset, like obviously still upset that yeah,
No, no.
anybody with $33 million.
Don't mistake.
Yeah.
Don't make no mistake. I'm not talking about he shouldn't have talked about it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like his performance, his actual performance, and the quality of the material wasn't what it used to be.
Okay. I also think like the quality of his material, like he hasn't done a special to the caliber of like hilarious or chewed up and God knows how long. Don't get like even Louis at his worst, I still think he's a brilliant comic.
Oh, it's definitely worth watching. I was
But
happy.
it was so weird to see that special as polished as it was. Like consider like post that New York Times article.
Yes, because he was like basically touring in exile. He
Yeah,
doesn't, he was touring a lot in Europe too, which I'm very jealous of. I
yeah,
love Europe. I want to go back to Europe.
yeah. He's, got up in France a lot. He has a French girlfriend now.
So what is your goal with stand up? Like what are your three next steps in terms of what you hope your career will
God,
be?
I would after starting after the pandemic, I would like to give myself 3 years to get on Fallon or James Corden. I feel like James Corden is like the most easily accessible because
So why do you want to do late night? I've never done late night,
you've
and
never
it's not a philosophical like.
okay
I auditioned for Letterman, because the booker at the time was like kind of into my thing,
okay.
but most of those late night bookers are just not into me. And
It would be a really awesome tape, and like from a personal standpoint, to see hear that my parents watched a set of me on something, whatever the equivalent of Letterman will be in the next couple years. Which late night, like the idea of late night, it's already losing power. Like I think,
well, that's the thing. Is like,
yeah,
it hasn't been essential for a comedian in 30 years, right? So it's like
yeah.
literally 30 years is
It,
when late night kind of started losing its luster.
yeah, it's not like the stories of like Drew Carey going on the Tonight Show and
Right.
getting sitcom like development deals like the following couple days.
Right.
Louis Anderson, another guy who Johnny
Pretty-
Carson like changed everything for him.
You know what's hilarious is you were talking about the Comedy Store documentary.
Yeah.
And what was really eye-opening for me was I'd never seen like footage of Freddie Prinze Jr. just in the world,
Okay.
just like walking around. And to
Wow.
see him walking through a crowd or like whatever the video footage I watched was, I was like, holy shit, that guy had legitimate star power.
Oh, dude, the thing that I saw, like the clip of his funeral with Lucille Ball, who was
Yeah.
there, and it was like, whoa, this guy.
I mean, he was huge. Like
Yes, dude,
as
22
as
years old, had a sitcom.
he was a star, but it's
Yeah.
like he was not my favorite comic. He had such a rep when I was a kid, even. Like people still talked about Chico and the Man. And then I finally got around to watching his late night spots, and I was like, well, not for me. But just like because you only ever see those guys in the context of like a sitcom or a late night, like the Tonight Show,
Yeah.
where they're literally surrounded by other people who are just off the charts, charismatic and attractive.
Yes.
And then you finally see them just surrounded by regular people, and you're like, holy shit, this guy like almost literally just pops out of the screen.
Oh yeah.
Like if you saw him in person, you would your eye, because of the way your brain and eye connection works,
Yeah.
would literally think that guy was bigger than every other person in the room, even though he's probably about 4 inches shorter than you.
Oh yeah, and I hear he had like a very like shy, timid personality to him. He was like one of those people like who was like in Hollywood but didn't necessarily have like a Hollywood personality, if that makes any sense.
Really? Because he was like a party guy.
Yeah, like he like around the right.
Banging
Yeah.
cocktail waitresses 2 at a time. That's from The
God,
Godfather.
God, Roseanne Barr, another one who's Johnny Carson debut, just like right out of the gate, changed everything.
Yes. But there were also 10,000 comics who did the Tonight Show and then
Yeah, never heard
became
from
road
him.
headliners for a year, and then nothing much else happened.
There are a couple.
I have to say, and this is not a knock on anyone, because this business is so weird.
Yes, it is.
This is so weird, and prior success is no guarantee for future success, right?
Yes, there are plenty of comedians. There's a couple who've been on the Tonight Show many times with Johnny Carson and are still doing open mics.
But listen,
Yes.
4 years ago, I moved to LA, and I was very freaked out about my place in the business because I'd had a career where it looked like big things were going to happen, but then I got in my own way. Shit happens. I didn't become like the big fucking star I thought I would be, but also that's okay because I don't think I would have been able to emotionally handle that in my 20s. So who gives a shit, right?
Okay.
I was like in LA freaked out about it because suddenly I was this open micer again and doing bad shows, as we were talking about.
Yes.
And I was sitting in the Comedy Store very long story. I was in the window by the, that overlooks the front patio.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Or
I was
window.
just kind of like, fucking God, what am I doing? Should I be in LA? Comedy? Why aren't I on stage at the Comedy Store? What am I doing here? Did I make a mistake? Should I go to law school? And then I was looking at the fucking names written in neon,
Yeah.
like the
Oh,
signs,
the neon ones and like on the inside, but
the
not.
neon ones on the inside.
Yeah.
And there's a guy named Tim Thomerson, who I guess at one point had been a big enough star at the store that he got his name on the
Yeah.
lights. People like Gary Shandling
Yeah.
and Robin Williams and David Letterman.
Richard Pryor.
Richard Pryor. Well, Rich Pryor's name is not in lights, I don't think. Is it?
It is, yes.
It's okay. But then
Howie
I looked at
Mandel's
the
another
window.
one.
I looked out the window at the names on the side of the wall.
Yeah.
And there's Tim Thomerson's name again, like right outside the window above the bar. And I was just like, man, that guy at one point, I looked him up. He's an actor. He's successful enough. But
Yeah.
at one point, someone at the store thought, well, this guy is one of the biggest, going to be one of the biggest comics in the world. He's a huge draw here at the store. And then I looked at the names again and I was like, how many, this is before the Louis C.K. scandal.
Yeah.
Like, how many people under the age of 40 know who Gary Shandling is anymore? Like, or who know who half, like Roseanne, like,
Yeah.
except until her sitcom came back and then she was also fucking taken down.
Yeah.
Who knew who Roseanne was at that point? Like, it's just such a fucking weird business, and you can't get caught up in like, I haven't achieved this thing or I haven't gotten that thing because otherwise I'm not a success.
I think that's a very good way of looking at it because everybody's path is different.
I support myself with comedy right now. And
Yeah.
to me, when I was 18 years old and doing bad improv at the New York Comedy Club, to me, the thought of just being able to support yourself with your comedy and to not have a day job was like the greatest achievement on earth.
Oh yeah.
And then you get in the career and you're like, God, I have never had a late night spot, or God, I really just want a sitcom writing job, and it seems like that door is closed to me, or or this manager who I think should represent me won't return my calls,
and then
and you're just like, you get so caught up in the bullshit that you forget the big picture, which is we're doing this amazing thing that is fucking, if you can make money at it, that's the best. There's no money on the road. There's no money on the road.
There's more money on the road than in LA.
You have to be like as good as Robert Kelly to make a full-time living on the road.
But like
Robert Kelly's a great comedian.
Like, as far as also just the idea of comparing yourself to people who are finding all of these different successes, and you start thinking, why not me? And somebody I know, I don't know if you know King Hassan.
Who?
King Hassan.
King Hassan?
Yeah, he's King Hassan. He's a comic. He just got staffed as a writer for Last Man Standing on Fox.
Okay.
And and it was something like I'm super like briefly I was just like, this is why not me? But also I'm not writing as much. I'm not even he has the kind of personality. He reads books all the time. He knows story like the back of his hand. And one of my New Year's resolutions is like one positive influence he had on me through his success. I would like to read one book a month for the rest of the year.
Okay.
And
you know what, Ian?
I got
I own an exercise bike.
Oh.
Well, wait. Oh, no. Let's look at that for a second. What books do you have?
1984 by George Orwell.
Great book.
And Weapons of Math Destruction by Kathy O'Neill.
Math Destruction? I've never heard of that.
It's a book about social media algorithms and their effect on
I'm going to recommend 2 books about stand-up comedy that I think you would really like. Actually, I have 4 books on this wall.
Okay, wow.
But there's 2 that are like easier to read if you're like trying to get back into comedy. So
I never stopped, baby.
I mean, not back into comedy, back into reading. Sorry.
Oh, back into read. Yeah, because I
Right, because I'm the same way. I went, like after my dad died over the summer, I just stopped reading.
gotcha.
I read Woody Allen's memoir, and then I just kind of stopped for the past 6 months.
Okay.
But one is called Introducing Burt Williams,
Okay.
and this is about he's the first uh, black comedian who was a star in the United States.
Okay, so this is going back before Bill Cosby.
Oh, before Bill Cosby, I'm talking about he started in the medicine show,
Okay.
in a traveling medicine show, and then he was in vaudeville, and then he was in and then back then, if you were a really famous comedian, you had your own Broadway show,
Yeah.
and also if you were a headliner, you only did 20 minutes.
Got that.
But introducing Burt Williams, he was a guy who refused to give a blackface until the 19. Well, way too late.
God.
Great book, really great book. And then the other one is called Seriously Funny,
Okay.
and it's the rebel comedians of the 1950s and 60s, and it's just little mini biographies of people like Mort Saul and Sid Caesar and Woody Allen and Bob Newhart and Lenny Bruce, just
Yeah.
like a really good overview of what stand-up comedy was like when everything started to change from the vaudeville Vegas days to what we're seeing now.
Okay. Lenny Bruce.
Those are two books
Yeah.
I highly recommend if you have any interest in the history or art of stand-up comedy.
Oh,
It's
I
an introduction.
100% do because I know little about what led to the Comedy Store. I know Mitzi Shore, she invented the concept of comedians being showcasing with other comedians as opposed to
Not really,
putting
but
them
I
with
mean, that's what the documentary said.
Yeah. Granted, the Ice House obviously predates the Comedy Store by a couple of years.
And Pips Comedy Club in Brooklyn.
Well, is Pips like that? Does that predate what year are we looking at?
Dude, my mom saw a very young Woody Allen performing at the Pips before anyone had heard of him.
No. Okay.
Rodney Dangerfield performed there.
Okay, because I know.
That's where Andrew Dice Clay got his start.
Andrew Dice Clay. That's the reason I know of Pips, and I know Andrew
Yeah.
Dice Clay. He was headlining Pips 2 weeks into doing comedy.
Yes, because that's how bad the club was.
Or there also probably wasn't nearly as big of a market for comedians then.
I mean, there was, that's when you had shows like the Ed Sullivan Show had already. Well, by the time Dice was successful, headlining Pips in the 80s, it was a huge market for comedy.
Wow.
Are you kidding me?
Like with respect to today,
when Catch a Rising Star? When Catch a Rising Star and the Improv and the Comedy Store actually opened?
Like early 70s.
Yeah. So by the time Dice started, stand-up was the biggest thing.
But I'm talking about with comparison today, anybody who has a social media account, dude, there was 300 comics showing up to potluck every Monday at the store. There was no point in the store's history was it like that.
Okay, first of all, you're being very generous when you say the word comics.
Yeah, I totally.
And I'm talking about people who I saw would get there every week first, so they could be the first ones to sign up.
Yeah.
And there's a crew that were doing that, who I would see on stage, and I would wonder if they spent any intervening time between Mondays actually doing stand-up anywhere else.
Oh yeah, there are a handful of those who are only trying to get up at the store or the Improv.
And then there's some tourists who are in from out of town, or
a lot of Kill Tony people, comics who are signing up for Kill Tony.
Right.
Which I'm not speaking ill of Kill Tony because I think Kill Tony is one of the most entertaining podcasts to see live. But Kill Tony moving to Texas might be the best thing to happen to the development process at the store because I think
has he permanently moved to Texas?
For the foreseeable future, yes.
Even after the pandemic's over?
They all have houses out there.
All those store guys do?
Most of them, yeah. I know
Dude, they have to
Red
be
Band
like,
bought a house out there, but it's gonna
those guys have to be
alleviate.
wife swapping or something. There's
Yeah,
something weird about that.
it's going to alleviate the bottleneck at the store, and the number of people signing up for potluck is like assuming people are not afraid to go to comedy clubs just yet, which there's going to be a fear for a while.
Right.
But I do think there's going to be neglecting that, the number is going to go from 300 down to 100 people signing up every week. And maybe I would be able to get up in front of Adam maybe once every 4 months.
Have you ever gotten up in front of Adam?
Yes, 3 times.
So if you're listening, Adam Egget is the booker for the Comedy Store.
Yes, he is.
And what potluck is, and I'm assuming you might have a listener who's not in the LA open mic scene. For your parents' sake.
Generous to assume I have a listener.
But your parents who are listening, so they're not confused.
Yeah, they saw the documentary.
Monday, what's that?
They saw the documentary.
Okay, well, I'm just
go on. I'm not gonna.
I'm being nice to whoever's not trying to be a comedian in LA right now. But it's like the Comedy Store every Monday has what they call potluck, which they've had under different names for the past, since they've been doing comedy pretty much, and it's their open audition to get to be to start the process of being a regular there.
Yes.
And the way it happens is you sign up in advance, and then 16 people get picked to do a 3-minute spot.
Yes.
For the booker and I really have to give Adam credit. He does sit and watch the whole potluck every week. And that is a job I would not want.
Dude, all those bookers,
they don't all do it, but he does.
Yeah.
His predecessor certainly did not.
It was Tommy before that.
Well, we don't have to go into names. I'm not here to put anyone down. Just saying his predecessor was known for not watching every week.
Okay, I did not.
His counterparts at a couple of other clubs are known for not watching every week.
Okay.
But Adam Egget is, and God bless him, he takes notes on everyone. And I got a call back once, which was nice. And I felt like I might have made some headway before everything kind of closed down.
Yeah.
Getting in there. But that's okay, because maybe I wasn't. And then in either case, it's like I have enough confidence that I'm good enough to be a regular at the store someday.
This is my compliment, and I'm not even going backhanded on this. I remember once I saw you late in the lineup, probably around the 16 spot. You might have been the last comic on that lineup. The room was full, and it was the best form I have ever seen you in.
Well, thank you.
And I feel like you were able to work the room. I feel you were doing a lot of nonverbal act outs that were
right. Here's the thing, Ian. You've never seen me except for that night at a good show in Los Angeles. And I once upon a time, maybe not anymore, after 10 months of being inactive.
Yeah.
But once upon a time, I really did know how to do stand-up. I am a professional.
I am fully aware. For everything I know, I obviously didn't know you until maybe 4 years ago. But right. Your career has had a very interesting trajectory from the coffee shop where Jackie Mason saw you to.
Oh yeah, that is funny. I forgot about that.
I tell my parents that story all the time, because my parents before the pandemic would run into Jackie Mason in the street.
Do they know him?
Not well, but enough that it's. And I met Jackie Mason once at a diner on 72nd between Amsterdam and Columbus, Fine and Shapiro, that has since closed.
Did he try to stiff you with the bill?
No, God. I
Yeah,
shook it.
Rousso, you want to be a comedian, you want to do
Yeah.
stand-up, you want to get on stage and talk to the mic and go ha ha
I
ha into the microphone, and then it comes out the speakers, and then you go, oh, now I'm a stand-up comedian.
Dude, it was so like because I wasn't like I was not telling him I was a comedian or I was pursuing comedy in any capacity, and it was
Right,
my mom who was like, "Tell him what you do," and I was like, "Come on, mom, no." It's like,
right.
"Oh, you work in any of the clubs out there? The Improv, the Comedy Store, the Laugh Factory."
So you call the Improv your home club. I
Yeah,
see you do that on Instagram.
half as like a kind of like an exaggeration, but I'm there enough. They all know who I am, and
Right.
like that's the place I'm going to first. The day Dr. Fauci says it's okay and they're able to be open, I want to grab dinner at the Improv and hopefully do 5 minutes in some capacity.
So you call your home club because you feel at home there.
It's the club that I do the yes.
Okay.
Even though
Okay. I
Rita
wasn't sure.
Rita has not given me a late night spot yet,
Right.
which
Oh,
I can't see why. Very,
so
I'm very compelling.
you are very. You are compelling. You do make your presence known.
Yeah, which is half accidental. I didn't. I need to state this for the record. Like, I didn't mean for the crush bit to become this thing that everybody was like, "Oh, who is she? Who is she?"
Well,
Because
it's because you were talking about someone, and they all wanted to know who you're talking about because it's funny. It's funny that you were going on stage night after night
yeah.
and calling this woman who's ostensibly your friend a bad
Oh,
comic.
she wasn't my friend at the time.
Okay.
We didn't become close at all until during the pandemic, and even that's a stretch.
Did she give you a haircut though?
She did give me a haircut.
Let me see.
No, it's long since grown back.
Okay.
I need to get a haircut again. I've thought about getting taking my electric razor with a clip and just giving myself like a close to a crew cut.
I will say in Queens, when I was back home for the summer,
Yeah.
I went to a barber shop and got a haircut, and I didn't get sick. It was actually pretty safe.
Oh yeah, it's most people in New York are doing it right. I think they're doing it better than here.
Well, the numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
Nobody's doing it well here.
Yeah, it's
You know, a few months ago, before I moved to where I moved to, I thought maybe I would just rent a cheap place in downtown Las Vegas for a few months because
oh
I like downtown Vegas. And I decided not to because I was like, man, they're all crazy and they're not doing it right, and they reopened the casinos, and that's going to be dangerous.
yeah.
Little knowing it would be worse in LA than it would be in Vegas.
Yeah, nobody expected because I don't look at LA as a very it's a very compact like it's not a compact city like New York. People aren't
Right.
living on top of each other. It's easier to avoid. But
But here's
I've gotten to the point where I'm afraid to go to a supermarket. I'm afraid to go to a laundromat,
here's the
Seven
thing is
Eleven.
people are like, oh, well, the chance of me getting killed are small. And it's like,
Yes,
yeah,
that
the
is
chance,
true, but I also
here's the
don't want to lose
thing.
my taste.
But here's the thing. The chance of you dying is it's a fraction, right?
Yes.
It's like, what is it, 5%, 10%? Whatever the percentage is. But the chances of you fucking getting extremely sick and clogging up the hospitals and taking up a hospital bed
Yeah, that's
and then the
another.
hospitals being full, that's a huge percentage of what happens. And, or like the odds of you getting so sick that you can't like walk for 2 months are huge,
God,
right?
I,
So it's like,
I'm
yes,
afraid
you
of.
might not die, but A, your quality of life is going to be terrible.
Yeah.
B, we're still discovering long-term side effects that people didn't expect.
God.
And C, there's a shit ton of people who are now in the hospital. And as a result, like my friend's elderly father started peeing blood.
Uh,
It turned out it was a minor side effect of a surgery. So it
okay.
wasn't, this has a happy ending, but he had to go to the ER. He couldn't be with his wife or son when he went.
Yeah.
And they didn't have a bed for him in the ER. So he had to sit in a chair while they worked on him.
Yeah, it's like
Like that shit. Like, how
car
can you see
accident.
that
People are in car accidents. Like that
having,
becomes.
or when you have a heart attack?
Yeah.
I
Oh.
mean, but the process is, if you have a heart attack or you're in a car accident, they're not going to turn the ambulance away. They will
Yeah.
take you, and they'll they're figuring it out while they go. But it is straining the healthcare system.
Oh yeah.
So if you're like, hey, I'm 27, I'm not going to die. Like, yeah, and maybe you
And
won't also infect everyone else around you, although you probably will.
I know
But
plenty of people who have it. Who either have it right now or had it. It's not pleasant.
who had it? Who has it?
Who yeah,
Drop
one
the
person I don't want to say publicly. I might be talking to him in a couple days, and we'll probably talk about it. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll text you. I
Wow, that's a
yeah.
fucking teaser for your next episode.
Oh yeah. No, but it's like
Pretty good teaser.
yeah, it's not something like I'm so grateful that like I donated blood a couple weeks ago, which
Good for
you
you.
get a free antibody test in the process. It's not good
Right.
for me. Like I had my agenda, but and
Right.
the fact that I have not had it, the fact that I was doing sets in people's living rooms. I like granted I've been taking my precautions doing outdoor sets and making sure always have hand sanitizer. I have my hook to open doors.
Right.
But it's still I'm grateful that I've been able to maintain my health in all this.
Health is wealth, man.
Yeah. Cause who know and I would feel like a fucking moron if I got COVID right before I was able to get a vaccine.
Yeah, that really would be the worst.
We're probably like a month or two out from that, like vaccines being accessible. And I don't care where you stand with the vaccine. I do plan on getting it as soon as it's accessible because I do want
Yeah.
to
Like I said,
be comfortable out. Yeah.
people don't want to be here anymore,
Yeah.
which again is fine. Don't get a vaccine. Like, honestly, if I can get a vaccine and then you decide that it's against your political principles to get vaccinated,
Yeah.
or you think there's a 5G microchip in your vaccine and you're
Yeah.
afraid of being tracked, that's fine. Go for it. As long as you don't with my ability to get vaccinated, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, it's just such a.
Go die.
I just want things to reopen. I do want to go back to the improv. Like,
Right.
there's so many like early on during the pandemic, I fantasized a day that there would be a vaccine. I would be able to run to the improv. Everybody would celebrate in the streets like fucking Bin Laden was just killed. But it's not going to be like that. Like it's going to be such a like that day has already come. Everything's going to slowly reopen and even then like for the next 6 weeks we're
Also,
about to enter the worst of it.
not everything's going to reopen is the other thing.
Oh yeah,
Some
plenty of
things are
restaurants
never going to reopen.
long close.
Like I hope all the clubs stay open, but
Yeah.
you don't know what's going to happen with the Comedy Store. You don't know what's going to happen with the Improv. You don't know what's going to happen with anything.
I think UCB Sunset like is like
It's gone.
yeah that's like
Oh,
set the standard like it's not it sucks 2020 was supposed to be the year I would make a Herald team.
what?
I'm,
So, what are your 3 goals for stand-up?
late night late night spot on TV. I would like to pay a sizable portion of my income doing the road. And
Okay,
if I'm able to get like guest star roles on TV, get some residual money coming in.
those are achievable goals.
Yes.
You
Like
know,
I'm not necessarily. I think the idea of making it in Hollywood, like there's different standards of making it. If I'm
Mhm.
not a household name, I would be okay with that. If people didn't know who Ian Ira Rousso was, if I'm able to walk down the street and be with people and they're pleasantly surprised, oh, this guy's actually a working comedian. Holy this guy had a guest star role. He was on that episode of I don't Superstore.
right.
Yeah.
So you want to be Fred Stoller famous?
Like, yeah, sure. I have
Like, it's
no idea who
basically
he
Fred
is, so
Stoller's
sure.
career.
But he's
Fred
working.
Fred is hilarious. He's a guy who has been he played Raymond's cousin on Everybody Loves Raymond.
Okay.
You know, he's just like one of those guys. He's one of those. If you saw him, if you Google Fred Stoller,
Yeah.
you'll know exactly who the hell I'm talking about. He's written a couple of books about not making it in show business, and he's like, Larry David just likes the way Fred thinks, so he had
Yeah.
him as a writer for a season on Seinfeld.
Okay.
Like, and Fred has had a very interesting career,
Yeah.
but he's a professional comedy that guy, you know.
And there's a couple of those. Like I'm trying to think of better examples of
Dan Bakkendahl's another guy.
people.
Million things Dan Bakkendahl's been in. He's
Yeah.
hilarious. Like one of the funniest guys.
Who like my first commercial. My first commercial acting teacher, a lady by the name of Judy Kane. I don't know if you've gone through A to Z acting school. Okay,
No.
I know that's like a quintessential. A lot of people go through that.
Oh, really? I have
But
no idea.
you wouldn't like. She's able to walk down the street, but she has SAG awards. Like she is very, very well respected in her field.
You know who's got a hilariously great career? Is Flo from Progressive.
Oh, absolutely.
I guarantee when she enrolled in the Groundlings, that wasn't her goal.
Yeah.
But I also guarantee she owns a really nice house.
I heard through the grapevine she makes no less than $1 million a year for those commercials.
I would say that is probably a conservative estimate.
Yes, like it's and that's
because
not
they
like
must imagine she probably does like big progressive appearances, like
oh
like industrial, not industrial, but
corporate.
corporate.
Yeah,
Just big corporate appearances. I'm sure she's a very comfortable lady.
Yeah, and commercial acting is another one. If you're able to book like one or two commercials, like that's
Well,
decent money. Like not as great as it was back in the '90s, but it's still at that point you're able to get representation easier, and you're able to get in more rooms, and you just keep playing your numbers.
I'll tell you what, Ian, and this is when I was in my 20s. There was a commercial agent who really, really believed in me, and she sent me out for literally everything she could.
But you have a look
after a while because I just hated it.
Yeah, just hearing no, getting rejected all the time, because that's another aspect. Like I don't. I only in recent years have I felt like my skin is getting tougher, being able to take the beatings over and over again. Because like I think in a lot of ways I've gone through hell and back, and I think it's the kind of
gone through hell and back.
You
have not gone.
I don't like. There are people who've gone through worse. I look at a guy.
People have really gone through hell and back. Yeah. You have not gone through hell and back, buddy.
You have a roof over your head. Could be way worse.
You have a roof over your head.
Yeah, I'm able to eat.
You have ridiculous amounts of food to eat.
Yeah.
I've seen your cooking show. I know how much you eat.
It's Hormel chili,
Dude,
but no.
Someone who eats as much steak as you has not been through hell and back.
I'm talking about like it's a bit of an exaggeration. I think my worst days are to come.
Oh my God!
But so are my best days.
Ian, I hope your worst days are behind you. I really do. I do not wish your worst days ahead of you because I've been there. It's not fun. I've never been homeless. I've never been addicted to crack.
Yeah.
You know, I don't even know if I would say I've been through hell and back myself. I've lived quite a life.
Yeah, you seem like a very experienced, bright guy, which I consider you more of like the one of the more well-adjusted people that I saw regularly.
God. That is sad for you.
It is sad. That's
I am not well-adjusted
LA comedy.
At all. Although I did buy an exercise bike and I'm losing weight, so I feel like
congratulations, good stuff.
Thanks,
you've been going on lots of hikes, which even like that I haven't done.
I put a kibosh on hikes until this COVID thing settles down a little bit. Now, what do you keep looking at off screen?
Oh, okay, that is noticeable. The making sure the Zoom recorder is still recording.
Okay. I
Yeah,
was.
I'm not looking at a clock. I'm just making sure. I
Well, you
don't.
should
Yeah,
be. I guarantee nobody's listening anymore.
yeah.
I
But
guarantee we reached that point in the podcast where people stopped listening a half hour ago.
dude, there were parts of this. I think the beginning it got a little bit chaotic, and then we started talking. I think we got very in depth about like Louis, which that's always good clickbait.
So,
By the way, another gimmick about this not a gimmick about this podcast. I do plan on bleeping out swear words because it makes everything sound punchier and more edgy.
did I swear?
I don't think you did, but I did a lot. Like,
So, all right. So I have to pee now. You
yeah,
can believe that. So we should probably wrap it up because I had some coffee right as we started filming, and I've
uh,
been drinking a bottle of water.
yeah. I had cold brew and a Lacroix.
Look at my
They are not
baby Yoda.
sponsoring.
You can't see it because I'm waiting for more lamps to come. Believe it or not.
Right on, dude. Is there anything you want to plug? Like
I moved,
I
I
do
moved here with
plan.
no furniture, so because of COVID, it's taking forever for me to get furniture.
Okay, gotcha. You didn't
My
have stuff in
couch is coming
storage. Yeah.
tomorrow. What's
Okay,
that?
that's you. Congratulations. You didn't have stuff in storage because I do plan on putting everything I have in storage if I take this trip to Austin.
Have you told your landlord you're just giving up your apartment?
I'm on a month to month, so I just have to give him a month's notice.
Okay. You think you'll get your damage deposit back? You take good
Oh,
care of yourself.
absolutely not. It's not only because there's damage. There's a little bit of damage here, but there's also I've been in here for 5 years, and at that point, I don't even think they're required to give back your security deposit.
Well, of course they are. It's the law. What's on
Is
your
it?
wall behind you? What are those lists?
Oh, that is a that is a list back when I was hosting mics in this apartment, the North Hollywood Improv. That's like the last roster of comics
That's
who are here.
hilarious. The North Hollywood Improv. When
Yeah,
were you
that's
doing that?
Stephen Briggs was here, Cole Alexander, Guido Stamparelli, Kurt
Was that
Stein.
after lockdown?
Yeah.
So, wow. But you consider yourself to be one of the more COVID safe comics out there?
This was back in like June. I think was like the last North Hollywood Improv.
June?
Yeah,
That's when it was really bad.
no, it got bad in July.
No,
I
it was
remember
bad from the beginning.
I
Are you
went to Lake
crazy? June?
Tahoe. I went to Lake Tahoe for a night in.
You went to Lake Tahoe? Dude, you're talking like you
Yeah.
were hosting this thing in April.
No, it was
I had my last show at the Improv on March 16th, and I think that was ridiculous
God.
and unsafe. June.
God, I remember the last mic on March 11th. I don't know if we've been to Berkshire House together.
Yeah, oh my God, don't blow up my spot. I want people to know how bad it's got for me out here.
Dude, March 11th at Berkshire House, it was just scary because that was when Nate Fisher, like he had like these giant rubber gloves on and was putting
Yeah,
hand sanitizer all of himself,
I
sanitizing.
refused to perform. That's probably why I consider that to be one of the reasons I never got COVID was I showed up and
Yeah.
decided hell with that, and I left.
I've been taking social distancing. Like once I stopped doing indoor mics, I'm not
I
near anybody.
I did perform at what's the one in North Hollywood? The famed Liquid Zoo.
Oh god.
After we knew that COVID was here, I did one set at Liquid Zoo, but Ryan also had wipes on stage with him.
Okay.
So I just kind of doused the mic with wipes.
Yeah.
Uh, but
Got.
but
Yeah, I did.
June. Holy shit.
Cinema Bar and what is it? Cinema Bar and Art Bar were the two that I like. The two mics I was at when shit really hit the fan, and probably I was in the mental state. I should probably go home, but I was like, you know what? Comedy would help me.
June.
Nope. I went to Berkshire House. It was frightening.
I mean, I may not have even gone to Berkshire House that week, but it was also just like but that's the kind of thing
Yeah.
I'm talking about when I say like I have done some serious reevaluating of what is acceptable in my stand-up life going forward after I get vaccinated.
Yeah.
That is the perfect and no disrespect intended to was it Nate's room? It was
Yeah,
Nate Fisher.
Nate Fisher. Yeah,
Good guy. I like Nate a lot.
yeah.
Funny stuff. Could see him developing into a really good
Dude,
comedian
he's a
in the
hell of a
next few
writer.
years. Good writer.
Yeah,
But that mic was like strictly to go hang out with friends.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
so
I think you were there that night. That was like one of the last times the comic who the crush bit was about was like heckling my set, and
I remember that. Yeah, I
yeah,
didn't know it was about
Connor
them.
Hingsley even actually has a recording of it, which I think
Dude,
is hilarious.
but that's the thing
He would
was
record me every time I bombed. That's the
I would
kind,
record you a lot.
that was the kind of personality which I didn't approve of. I didn't. If I
I
knew
love
he was
Connor.
recording me, I probably would have been like, "What the are you doing?" But I'm
Well, that's
glad he
stand-up comedy.
documented that.
That's like the classic stand-up comedy mindset
Yeah,
is to get video evidence of you bombing.
yeah.
Do you talk to Connor? I haven't talked to him in months.
I see him. I see him around from time to time.
I gotta give him a call. It's
Yeah.
another stupid unsafe comic.
Oh yeah, dude. He's like I'm not speaking ill of him, but he takes it he definitely takes it less seriously than most of us.
He sure does.
Yeah.
That's why I haven't seen him in 10 months.
Yeah. Maybe he
But
died.
no, Connor did not die.
No, but
Uh,
he's still developing, still writing material. He's still
he's great. He gets played all the time on Sirius XM now.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I guess before
Not
we
all the
go,
time,
if
but
you have
he's getting played once a day right now. Once
yeah,
or twice a day, which is good.
if you have any quick career goals you want to tell me, and then I guess we'll wrap up.
I was wondering if you would think to ask me about that.
Yeah,
I was
I'm
really
trying to be a
curious.
good listener.
No, you're not.
Go.
But it's
What are your plans after all this is over? Like, what are your fantasies?
well, right
Not
now
s-
I'm working on the screenwriting thing, and
yeah,
I've really taken advantage of this whole thing to kind of take that more seriously and
yeah,
really like sit down and focus.
yeah.
So before lockdown, I wrote a screenplay that was a quarterfinalist in something called the Academy Nickel,
Okay, that's accomplishment.
which is that's an accomplishment.
Yeah,
Not enough to get me representation, but it's a step.
yeah,
And then once quarantine, so the thing about that script was it was very funny, but I wouldn't say it was great in terms of being an actual screenplay. It was just instead of learning how to write a story properly,
yeah,
I just kind of threw enough funny jokes and situations in there that people liked it.
yeah. I think that's a lot of mistakes that comedians who get into screenwriting do.
Right.
They're not focusing. I think story is rule number one for
Right.
essentially anything we could do, even joke writing. Like there has to be purpose and objective, and knowing your audience, knowing how you feel about what you're talking about.
Uh-huh.
Because going back to the idea of what's hack and what isn't, like I feel like you need to deliver jokes with emotional conviction. Like you need to be emotionally attached to what you're talking about, and
So once quarantine started,
yeah,
which I took seriously,
yeah.
um,
I think you took more seriously than most of the people.
I very much did.
Yeah,
So the other thing too is I've been in stand-up for much longer than you have.
yeah,
So I'm at the point where I'm actually like kind of relieved that I took a break from it and
yeah.
regrouped and like figured out what I want to do going forward. But anyway, so uh I wrote two screenplays and they both just were quarterfinalists in a contest that a Final Draft runs every year.
Good stuff.
So, and one is a comedy and the other is a Western. And I
What?
was really proud of the Western because I really learned how to write a 3-act screenplay. There's a great video that the guy who wrote Toy Story 3 made. It's like an animated video. He also wrote Little Miss Sunshine. He won an Oscar for that.
No
And it's all about how he solved his Act 3 in Toy Story 3. It was all about the 2.5 year process of learning how to tell this story. It's just like, and it really, really helped because I had an act 3 that was just formless and just like, bleh, just
Yeah.
all over the place. And he really like broke it down. And what he said, the big thing that really helped me was his protagonist and his antagonist. He realized, uh, how did he put this? I can't remember how he put it, but basically he realized that they both had similar goals and they were mirrors of each other. And he realized that what he didn't have was a scene where they face each other and they kind of like state
Conflict.
what their goals are,
Yeah.
and they kind of realize that they're coming from the same place. And once he did that, the third act fell into place.
Okay.
So I've been doing that.
Yeah.
So one of my goals is to like write a screenplay that sells, and I'm working on one now that I like a lot.
Okay.
But also, what I want to be a filmmaker, I think. So I'm taking filmmaking classes now,
Okay.
which are very interesting.
Hey,
And
are you getting into like editing and stuff? Because that's if you want.
everything.
Yeah. Okay. Because
Dude, I'm like, and I have to read this book called The Filmmaker's Handbook.
dude. Yeah.
I don't have to read it all, but this is
Yeah.
what we're learning from.
Because dude, that's something during the pandemic. Like Cooking with the Rooster got me like.
Which was very well edited, by the way.
Thank you. And I wanted to learn editing on a more professional level because of it.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
Cooking with the Rooster
Yeah.
was, first of all, made me very concerned about your dietary habits.
Oh yeah. It's
I was like, how is the rooster not 500 pounds?
I have no.
But also, dude, you eat like an entire steak and you mix it with shrimp. It's like Roman emperor level decadent.
And after this, I was gonna run a Panera Bread and get soup in a bread bowl.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Be careful. How old are you now, Rooster?
34.
Oh yeah, that's when it starts.
I hear your metabolism. Like I know
Yeah.
could catch up with you. Like once you like hit late 30s, early 40s.
I used to be like really fucking just kind of like crazy with all of my habits.
Yeah.
And ingesting a ton of calories, especially. I mean, you don't drink, which helps.
Yeah.
A lot.
That's the.
That's the big killer in terms of caloric intake.
Yeah.
'Cause
I
once
drank
hit-
on New Year's, but I'm not drinking again for a while.
Because the thing is, I would also like bike like crazy and run
Yeah.
like crazy. But once I hit 33, that was when I had to work twice as hard and I was still gaining weight.
Okay.
So it's like, like there's just a point where your body just kind of like is like, well, I was only designed to operate and breed until the age of 25. And
Yeah.
everything else is fucking gravy. So I'm not doing all this work to keep it together anymore.
Okay.
Because human beings were literally designed to live to be about 45.
Yeah.
That's like
Modern
that's like-
medicine really changed.
yeah,
the game on
modern
that,
medicine, diet, exercise, vitamins,
Yeah.
all that shit has extended our lives to like 100 sometimes.
God.
But we were evolved, like we're biological entities that evolved to live to be about 45 and then
Yeah.
get eaten by a cheetah.
God. But
So
have you been learning Premiere?
no, I'm literally just like, this is like, I'm starting with the little basics of what like progressive versus interlacing is. Like,
I have foreign language to me.
here's the thing. When Buster Keaton, the first time he was cast on he was like a big star on stage.
Yeah.
Then Fatty Arbuckle cast him in a movie, and he just like wanted to learn how to make film. So he started taking a camera apart on set.
God, wow.
So he could see how the film was loaded, how the crank, and he wanted to know everything.
Yeah.
And that's like, if you want to be a filmmaker, you kind of
Gotta
have to know everything. Right?
That's one way, because I've never. Cinematography is absolutely a foreign
if
like
you're-
frame rate. I don't know what frame rate really does or is. I know you could adjust it to get a certain effect to
right.
convey different elements of storytelling, but like as far as
Because if you want to be a director or like a real hands-on producer guy,
yeah,
You got to be able to talk their language at least and tell your DP like,
Yeah, you got to know the
look,
lingo.
I want this kind of lens because if we get this kind of lens, then we'll get this kind of effect to communicate what I'm trying to communicate.
Yeah, and literally every adjustment is to convey some sort of element of story.
I watched Rashomon,
Yeah.
and then I watched it again immediately with the commentary track on. And it's like when you watch it, you're just kind of like, oh, this is a great movie, and this is great, and this is great. And then you watch it with the commentary track, and the guy talks about what Kurosawa was going for with literally every shot.
Okay.
And you're like, oh my God, Kurosawa, like, very purposefully did these things with the leaves in the forest and the way that the light is, and the way that, like, how to get light on people's faces in Japanese sunlight, which is not as strong as California sunlight.
Okay.
And it's like he set up every shot so you had a triad of characters because the movie is about how three people relate to each other in every single scene.
No,
And the more you get into it, the more you're like, oh, to be really like to be a good director who's not just like a guy who fucking is a director for hire to make money.
yeah.
Like even like someone like Michael Bay is very intentional about his shots and what he wants to convey with every single frame.
That's how I feel. Did Michael Bay do Saving Private Ryan?
No, that was Steven Spielberg.
That was Steven's. Okay, I'm an idiot.
Did you just ask if Michael Bay directed Saving Private
Ryan? I don't remember the last time I've seen it.
Ian, this isn't.
I feel like an idiot.
Like French cinema of the 1960s. Saving Private Ryan is one of the biggest movies of the last 30 years.
Saving Private Ryan was very.
Did you just ask if Michael Bay directed a Steven Spielberg movie? Are you? This is what I'm talking about when I say I don't know if you're like some Andy Kaufman guy who's with me.
No, but Saving Private Ryan, they were Spielberg. They were very intentional about the frame rate to convey like the horrors of war.
Well, that was also sound design.
Yeah, just everything about
the sound design in that first Normandy sequence.
God,
is terrifying.
Yeah.
Like it's like you hear the bullets zipping past your ear.
God.
I saw that in the theater and it f***ed me up. I was in Berlin 10 years ago.
Yeah.
On a tour. And I was in a really bad headspace by the time I hit Berlin for a lot of reasons. And I was up at like 2 a.m. in Berlin in this apartment I'd rented.
Okay.
And I decided it would be a good time to watch Saving Private Ryan on my MacBook. So I was up to like almost 5 a.m. watching that, and it completely f***ed my head for the next week.
Wow. God.
Because it's just so intense.
Yeah, it's a very.
In fact, maybe I'll watch that tonight.
Yeah.
All right, I'm
going to let you go. Is there anything that you want to plug? Podcasts? Any?
You know what?
Here's your Instagram, all that. I was going to have like a little bar.
Anyone who listens to this podcast follows me on Instagram. And I probably owe 20 people an apology after this.
So I owe my share.
But to every
women in comedy, yes, exactly. I'm
Louis C.K.
No, I feel like Harvey Weinstein. We gave a bad rap.
You know what? I'm just gonna plug this. I'm on Spotify. Working Class Fancy is my second album.
Okay.
Comedian is my first album. Although I feel like if you search for Comedian on Spotify, you'll get a lot of results. So
yeah, you will.
Look for Working Class Fancy. So I'm very proud of that one, actually.
Okay.
And then everything else is on YouTube or whatever.
Okay, right on, dude.
Also, you can email me at radioliam@gmail.com.
That is true. Yes, he is not available for bookings right now because of COVID.
But you go to heyitsliam.com to learn about me.
Yeah. But dude, thank you.
You can text me. Here's my text number: 424-245-LAFF. You text me at that, it goes to my phone. I'm curious to see if anyone texts me from listening to this podcast.
We'll see. Watch this go viral. Watch me become the next.
Not going viral.
Yeah, I know.
424-245-LAFF.
Dude, it's funny because this conversation went all over the place. Then the parts that I think were very. I feel like I know podcasting better now for having done this, and thank you so much.